The All Sooke Days podcast. It's about Sooke businesses, Sooke people, and Sooke history. Brought to you by SookeMortages.ca. With better rates and service, come see why we are Sooke's first choice for mortgages.
The All Sooke Days podcast is brought to you by SookeMortages.ca. With better rates and service, come see why they're Sooke's first choice for mortgages. Also by Sooke Oceanside Brewery. Come visit their new waterfront tap room and patio for a pint. Pizzability, when only the best will do. And meanwhile in Sooke, Sooke's largest online community. Hello everybody and welcome to this special Christmas episode of the All Sooke Days podcast. Today I'm going to do a quick little short reading of Twas the Night Before Christmas in Sooke. And then we're also going to go over a few different history goings-ons in Sooke of Christmas past, like back in 1959, 1962, and I think 1965 as well. So, let's get to it. 'Twas the night before Christmas in Sooke, and all through the hills, not a chainsaw was running, not even the mills. The salmon were hung in the deep freeze with care, in hopes that a smoker would soon be there. The great people of Sooke were snug in their beds, as visions of All Sooke Day danced in their heads. So I went to the Sooke Regional Museum to do a little bit of research on some past Sooke Christmases. And the farthest back we could go was 1959. And here's a few notes on what I found in some of the archives. In 1959, they were offering Christmas dinners at the Sooke Harbor House. A baby boy was born at 6:02 p.m. to Mr. and Mrs. I. Perry of Otter Point Road. And Cecinos Elementary had actually caught fire earlier in that year, just before it was completed. 1959. Wow, I didn't realize Cecinos Elementary was that old. In 1962, you could go to the community hall for some turkey bingo, and the district was in debate whether to be joining the regional library. The mine in Jordan River started producing again in 1965. A vote of no for a hospital in Sooke. Who knew some of the topics that we're discussing today were topics being discussed back then as well. And the first issue of the Sooke News Mirror came out on March 23rd, 1965. Not only that, there was a couple stories. This is from before the Sooke News Mirror was around. It used to be called The Grapevine, was the local paper in Sooke. And this is from 1959. This is just a little story that I would like to read to you guys. It was a letter to the editor by W. Simmons of Otter Point Road. I'd like to offer my apologies to the kiddies in 4 cars that called in Friday evening to see my outside lighting display, but I assure them I was not responsible for the wind last Thursday night that tore down the reindeer and the sled. I had to wait until Saturday to replace it. I will try and keep it all in working order until the New Year's, with lights being turned on around 6:30 p.m. weekday evenings and at dusk on Saturday and Sunday. I think a special word of thanks should be given to the truck drivers of 3 large trucks that brought their vehicles to a halt until all Sooke-bound traffic had safely made their amphibian crossing of Dewdney Flats last Monday evening, with water already seeping in the flooring. They thus assured us all that we would not be totally submerged by their waves. As it was, we found that on making the crossing safely, we had no brakes, so we cautiously took our time in completing our journey, pulling over occasionally to let traffic pass that evidently did not have their brakes affected, did not realize they were, or didn't care. A tip from a Sooke garage: to overcome this brake trouble, push brake pedal down and step on the accelerator for a distance of a block at a time. Repeat this at intervals. It heats the drives and lining. We tried it and it worked. So imagine, I have no idea where Dewdney Flats is. If anybody knows where that is, let me know. But isn't that an incredible story? And these are people in Sooke from 1959 riding into what was then called the Grapevine. You know, the sense of the community in Sooke still lasts today, to this day, and it's just unbelievable. So this is another story from the Grapevine. It's called Christmas Fantasies. The dining room was filled to overflowing last Wednesday night for the performance of the Christmas Fantasies, presented by the Carol Bells Choir and dancers from Sooke School of Dancing. The girls sang popular and traditional carols sweetly, and they also presented an original song, Joy Bells Polka, by Dowie Eddy and the late Mrs. Isabel Pedersen. Little angels, toys, Christmas decorations, a gollywog, candy canes, skaters, all danced with vigor and pleasure. There were sundry sufferers from the chicken pox and 2 little girls wanting front teeth. Harley Eve and Anna Reagan and Shelby Stange presented solos. Miss Diddy Knight and Bob Gibson accompanied the entertainers. Carols were sung by the audience, and everyone had an enjoyable evening. A total of $35.52 was collected at the door and will help to provide music for the girls' choir. A special thank you from Marge Lindy for all the help. All right, this is from the Sooke News Mirror in 1965. Mistletoe popular at EMSS Christmas dance. Mistletoe was sacred to the Druids. Along with Yule log, it was adopted into the Christmas festivities. Students at the EMSS Christmas dance found it useful in promoting good fellowship. The whole dance was quite successful. Even the teachers were pleased with the band, the Invaders. The dance was held before the exam so that preparations would not interfere with the exams themselves, and also to leave the evening of the 23rd free because it was so very close to Christmas. Kathy Pierce won 2 free tickets to the dance by naming the soon-to-be published school newspaper, The Spiral. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed these little tidbits of history in Sooke. I definitely want to do this more often going into the new year. Let me know if there's any old stories you'd like to hear about Sooke, some old history. And let me know if you guys enjoyed this Christmas special. On behalf of Guided Films, CHEK, All Sooke Days, me, Merry Christmas, Sooke, and thank you for listening to the All Sooke Days podcast.
The All Sooke Days podcast. It's about Sooke businesses, Sooke people, and Sooke history. Brought to you by SookeMortages.ca. With better rates and service, come see why we are Sooke's first choice for mortgages.